Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all and all to the concluding session of the 7 days online faculty development of empowering innovation, advancing through knowledge and practice in the field of intellectual property rights. Over the last 7 days, we had a very huge privilege to be enlightened from eminent dignitaries, professionals, and practitioners who are experts in the field of intellectual property rights. And since it's a universal truth that to every beginning there is an end, and at present we have come to a holistic end, and to welcome all of you to this valedictory session of the 7 days online faculty development program, I would request the person who has inspired us throughout this journey, the one without whose efforts and dedications and guidance we could not have conducted this faculty development program, our very own Dr. Vasavras M. Kavagadi sir, the Dean School of Legal Jurisprudence Studies and the Head Department of Law. Sir, I kindly request you to all welcome the August gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Jayanji. Respected dignitaries and the resource persons of the today's valedictory program, Professor Dr. R.C. Bathrangoi, who is a former Advocate General Government of Assam. On behalf of the Central University of Karnataka, you wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to this August gathering.
Thank you.
I welcome all the participants to this valedictory session. As rightly uh, Jayanji has mentioned that these 7 days uh, we made an effort to bring good resource persons from the different universities and different fields, especially even the practical oriented persons who have their knowledge and skill in this IPR. Nowadays, it is very burning topic, and it is very essential topic to be understood. And even the NAC is making mandatory to all the faculties that to understand the topics on IPR, even for other degree colleges also. So we can understand the importance of these topics. So different dimensions of IPR, I hope, has been discussed in these 7 days in different topics, and all the participants. I hope you have utilized this opportunity and got benefit out of it, and then only it will be a successful program. Otherwise, if it is a namesake or only for the purpose of giving certificate, it may not fulfill the object of the program. For that reason, I hope all of you got benefit out of it, and definitely it will be encouraging for the department to organize in future these type of programs. And I thank all the participants for your cooperation, coordination in successful completion of this program. And for this valedictory, I welcome all the participants who have joined from different streams, different institutions, different universities. And I especially thank our young faculty, Dr. Jayant Barwaji, who has taken pain and also uh, struggle to organize the 7 days program, because he has to identify 14 resource persons from different universities. And even we have invited two different vice chancellors, former vice chancellors for the inaugural programs. And also we requested our former Advocate General state of Assam to give a valedictory speech in this program. It is all because of his efforts and all. So I once again thank him for taking initiation in this regard. I also thank our research scholars and also students who also have taken part and made this program be successful. Thank you, one and all. I welcome once again all the participants, resource persons, to this valedictory session of 7 days FDP.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And it is a nice, inspiring words for us. to approach towards futures with similar events, and will always try to keep the high spirit of academic excellence on your blessings. Now, moving ahead, we have a very dynamic personality who is from both the fields of academia as well as from practice. We have among us Professor Dr. Ramesh Chandra Barpatra Gohai sir. He has done his PhD from Guwahati University and has also completed his diploma in journalism. He was the former professor, head, and dean, faculty of law, Guwahati University. He is also the member executive council of Guwahati University, member academic planning board of National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam. Has also served as a member board of professional studies law, Nagaland University. He actually in the practical field he was enrolled as an advocate on in the year 1981 and then appointed as Advocate General Assam in the year 2017 and continued till 2021. He was also conferred the cabinet status as the Advocate General in 2020. He was also appointed as Chairman State Law Commission Assam in 2019. He has served as a lecturer University Law College Guwahati University and has also served as the Director Center for Judicial Sciences Dibrugarh University. To his excellence, he has acted as chairman of 34 Indian Social Science Congress Judicial Sciences in 2010, and he has also submitted a report of the chairman on judicial sciences held on 13 December 2010. He has also worked as a member Land Rights Committee by the Government of Assam and also worked as a member High-Level Committee on Implementation of Clause 6 Assam Accord appointed by Government of Assam. At present, he is also serving as a legal advisor to the State Land Commission and he is now a designated senior advocate to the Honorable High Court of Guwahati. We are very much enlightened and privileged to have such a dynamic personality amongst us. We will definitely be very much enlightened from his words of wisdom, and therefore, without much delay, I would like to hand over the session to our esteemed chief guest of honor, Professor Dr. Ramesh Chandra Barpatra Gohai sir. Sir, over to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. I'm really indebted to the faculties of the School of Legal Jurisprudential Studies, Central University, Karnataka, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the young spirit and the young generation so that we will mold in a scientific way an environment where each and everybody will be having serious knowledge and serious activities, whether he is an ordinary man or he is a legal expert or in any field a person is there. So that consciousness is to be generated. It should be augmented through academic and intellectual deliberation activities like this. The marathon exercise for 7 days is a continuous process to activize the intellectual intuition of the young teachers who were really doing well in their respective areas. So intellectual property right is a concept which encompasses primarily two aspects. One is the industrial, then other is the copyright domain, and thereafter different branches which are related to these two dimensions very importantly. One thing is important that everywhere around the world there is the development. Science and technology is used as a tool for these developmental perspective. But one thing is very important, how to utilize the science for the betterment of human civilization rather than to give a monopoly to very limited persons about these areas. Say, for example, the nature or the universe it contains is available to all, and we are to distribute it according to our requirements, need, not to fulfill the grids. So that is a very important aspect therein. See, when we talk of intellectual property in the domain of science and in the domain of copyright, then two things are very important to be noted. The scientific advancement and the development and the progress that is really earmarked for the benefit of all sections of people in a harmonious manner. Second aspect is that how to properly utilize the science and technological tools and advancement for the betterment of human social order around the world. There are different crises. The science, if it is unregulated, then in that case, it may lead to different types of destruction. Then in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 16, verse 9, there the verse speaks about etam distim avastabha nasta atman alpapudaya prabhavanti ugra karmana khyaya jagata ahita. We have developed our intuition, intellectuality in the field of science or philosophy or politics, whatever that might be. All these components are very much important for protection of intellectual property rights of those persons. Now, the if our mind is not oriented towards humanism, then in that case, the science that is developed by the scientists will be definitely for the destruction. Say, for example, the war that are fought, and in the present day also the nuclear weapons these are created, and I don't think that these will have any good impact for our society. Rather than to that, the new creativity centering around humanism is very important factor in the philosophy, in the political policy making also. Say, for example, the warmongering tendency towards destruction should be stopped. And I think if we organize such type of deliberations and discussions in the academic world, I think we can be able to pacify these warmongering tendency among the policymakers, among the rulers, among the scientists in an unruly manner. And that way, I think the intellectual property right will be meaningful. Say, for example, in the name of advancement, it is not that we are creating pollution only to the global environment. We are polluting the space environment as well. So these space environment, say the pollution that is there in the space, it cannot be taken control of. And one day, space is a part of the universe, and once the that part is damaged, then the remaining part will automatically damage. Another important dimension, say for example, in the industrial sector, say there are different domains. Say for example, patent act. Say for example, the other industrial acts. Say for example, the designed act. Then geographical indication and protection of plant varieties and farmers' right act. And that way we have different types of legislations which have come into in the field of intellectual property in India. In the global perspective, about 150 years back, this development has taken place regarding the recognition of intellectual property in both the domains, in the industrial development, industrial creation, as well as the creation of artistic, literary, and all other aspects, especially the copyrights. Now, the most important danger which we are facing is the augmentation in an unruly manner, uncontrolled manner, the invasion of artificial intelligence, that is the scientific methodology that are used for the development without any spiritual regulation. Now, in every domain, say for example, the universities are creating a database regarding all these intellectual properties belonging to that area or in other areas. So the database will be really helpful for the new researchers, so that having access to these database, they can go on innovating, they can go on creating new and new things for the betterment of society and as well as environment. But once it is not controlled properly, spiritual control is not there, as I mentioned about the verse of Bhagavad Gita, then in that case we are digging our own ditch. So from that perspective, the the relationship between the intellectual property right and artificial intelligence is to be harmonized. I personally believe the real intelligence which the human brain carries. It contains billions of small cells, and those cells are really responsible for the creativity. And if we block it and we switch over to artificial intelligence and absolutely we are dependent on that, ultimately the real intelligence will be prevailed over by the artificial intelligence, which will be a danger to our civilization. Another important thing in the field of copyright, say for example, IA created, artificial intelligence created artificial intelligence that has developed certain, say, lyrics, certain musics, and also the mimicry concept that is developed by this is really dangerous. And that is why what I feel is that in that particular domain, and also in the domain of other industrial sector, we should have a regulatory authority created by law. In the European countries, they have already, in 2023, they have already enacted the law relating to controlling the misuse of this artificial intelligence and its due and proper application for the betterment of human society. In India, also, one private member bill that has been laid in the parliament, but then the debates and discussions are not going on. And what I feel is that as because the artificial intelligence in the digital world is becoming a part in the criminal justice system or the other constitutional justice system, whatever that might be, that has been taken resort to. But then the probable danger in the field of artificial intelligence and its regulation is to be taken very seriously. Otherwise, it will be it will be dooming our entire system. With reference to, say, for example, I'm talking in the artificial intelligence and the banking sector. So we all are consumers or customers on the bank service system. And we have seen that the cyber law, because as the cyber crime is offing in a geometrical progression, any moment any citizen can be a victim of that. I have also experienced that, not only for me personally, as for others as well. So that is why it is very important aspect that it has to be regulated, controlled by making a proper legislation so that we can utilize the artificial intelligence to the extent that is required and not beyond that. So that aspect is very much important. Another important aspect is the espionage in the domain of digital world. Say, for example, many of the database which are there preserved by any of the legal institutions or other academic institutions, these database can be accessed as because there is no proper regulatory authority. The database can be accessed by in a deceitful manner, and ultimately, because of that data deceitfully taken away, many database can be blocked or it can be digitally inactivated. And ultimately, the entire efforts of the research scholars who have collected different aspects of the research on these intellectual property. Say, for example, geographical indication, how to protect the geographical indication. See, many researchers are doing on different dimensions of geographical indication belonging to a particular geographical area. Many important data of, say, for example, the fauna and flora and also ecosystem that may be brought to the data reservoir. And ultimately, because of the piracy and also the cyber criminals domain, as because it is not restricted, then ultimately those data can be siphoned out and that will be utilized for their own personal own personal use, and that will be dangerous. So from that perspective, so another important thing in the domain of, say, the Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act, our system of Ayurvedic treatment that started from Vedic time. We have many conventional treatments with the plants, different types of plants, their roots or whatever that might be. So cure we are trying at most to cure any kind of disease, and that is available. There are different types of research which is going on now. Say, for example, in a particular area where a specific plant, medicinal plant, is grown by the indigenous people, and traditionally they are using as medicines, and many of the people are getting benefit out of it. And now, say, for example, once that data is accessed in an unauthorized manner, then in that case, the piracy will be there. Many other things will crop up. And ultimately, the people who are really developing, grooming that culture in a traditional manner, which is to be protected under the provisions of the Constitution as a fundamental right or as an intellectual property right, that will be that will be in jeopardy. So that aspect is also to be taken into consideration. In the domain of geographical indication, say, for example, Design Act is also there. So there are different types of designs. Say, for example, in the weaving designs, the weaver are creating the designs to be incorporated in those clothes which are which are made available in the traditional way. Now, if that design created by a creator, designer, if he or she is not at all aware of that he has a right in RAM against the whole world, because he or she is the creator of that design, that is the innovation he or she has created. Then in that case, if, for example, without knowledge, many many rights have been infringed upon by these illegal means, and many people are not at all aware of in the for the protection. So what I feel is that along with the strong deliberation of sensitizing our teaching community, the academic community, lawyering community, judges, we have to go to the field, the ground root level, and therefrom we should try to develop the awareness among all the people, their rights, their duties, and harmonization, and also the protection of environment and all other things which are universally recognized. That aspect is very much important. Say, for example, in the Stockholm Conference and also Nairobi Conference and the Rio Earth Summit, these are new developments that are coming up, and thereafter also different types of deliberation in the international level which are coming up, different conventions, different convenience, these are there, and also different treaties, bilateral, multilateral treaties which are there. We have to internationally respect that. Say, for example, our Constitution, Article 51C of the Constitution, mandates for that how to respect and how to protect and preserve those intellectual properties in the domain in the geographical domain of our country. And as a result, say, Article 253 of the Constitution authorizes the Parliament to make laws on the basis of the spirit of those objectives and ideas based on the ideas of the international documents. And item 12, 13, and 14 of the 7 schedule first list, union list, is really mandating the Parliament and authorizing the Parliament to make law in such a way so that this can be protected well. Another important thing is that the knowledge of treaties, international treaties, or the treaty laws is mandated. If we take the Protection of Human Rights Act, adhering to the principles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, say more specifically Article 26 and Article 27 of that Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And under that domain, say the Protection of Human Rights Act was enacted in 1993. If we go to Section 12 FGH, clause FGH, we find that it is a mandate to the National Human Rights Commission to make initiative about campaigning for the popularization of the spirit of international law treaties, and also encourage and collaborate with educational institutions regarding the research on international law treaties, as the case may be, and also different types of policies to be improved on the basis of those those international spirit. So keeping in pace with that, right from Barney Convention, Paris Convention, then TRIPS agreement, these developments are taking place, some modifications are going on. And after the WTO in 1994, which has taken place of GATT, General Administration those things are to be updated in such a way. And after these developments on the on this aspect, then different laws in India has been amended. Say, for example, Copyright Act of 1956 has been amended. Then Patent Act has been amended to that particular extent. Then all other related acts, the acts are trademarks act. These are updated only on the basis of the spirit of international law. Then now one thing is there. Say, for example, patent or geographical indication or any other right in RAM that has been that has been conferred in a fixed manner for a specific period of time. Now, if say artificial intelligence that has created different or that has innovated different aspects, yes, it is laudable, but the point is that there is again a domain which is not at all addressed properly by any legislation. Say, for example, this as a the human created intellectual property domain has a limited period, say for example 20 years, say for example Copyright Act, that during the lifetime of the creator, that is section 22 of the Copyright Act of 1957 amended, and also after 60 years of his death, under the trust that is created for continuing that right, and after that it becomes so. But in the artificially created intelligence or the innovations, there how can we fix the limit like these are fixed by the Patent Act as well as Copyright Act is a very serious concern. Say that aspect is also very much important. Another aspect I like to highlight on, probably during this deliberation for 7 days, many legal luminaries have given their very thoughtful deliberation, enlighten us. And what I feel is that we have to go and dwell upon different types of provisions of law. Say, for example, one example, the Biological Diversity Act. It is for the protection of biological diversity of that particular area. Say, the Biological Diversity Act, Section 36, it provided that first the biological diversity in that area, if we want some developmental works, then in that case, the local people who have been traditionally for generations are living therein out of their long practical experience. First, they have to be consulted about the developmental projects, and thereafter we should go for scientific analysis or whatever is necessary. In the Conservation of Forest Act of 1980 also, there are provisions for dealing with or participating or talking with those people of that biological diversity or that area, forestry, fauna and flora, and after that only we should go for the technical impact assessment. First is the public impact assessment, first priority, then secondly the technical impact assessment. So these are the important areas where we have to dwell upon, and we have to sensitize the people who are dwelling in those areas. Then many other aspects are there. Say, for example, customary practices of protecting and preserving and grooming and continuing the many seeds, many varieties of say eatables like rice, then many medicinal plants. There are many medicinal plants which are grown by those growers, and under the Universal Declaration of the Right of Indigenous People of 2007, we are obligated to international obligation to protect and preserve the land that is for growing these medicinal plants, growing these different types of fruits, vegetables, and also seeds, grown crops like that. So these are to be encouraged. But one thing is there, that the campaign or the educative process that is to be done officially is not to the mark till today. Even if some efforts are made, it is confined within a very limited area. So what I make an appeal to the learned participants, that in the area where they are serving, they should organize some sensitizing programs, some legal awareness programs about a program of the common people, who are the protector, who are the creator, and they should be encouraged and they should be given the way. Say, for example, Legal Services Authorities Act is there. Say, for example, Section 12 of the Legal Services Authorities, it mandates free legal services for the protection of public interest, for the protection of individual interest, maybe it's a fundamental right or in any form. So that we should try to mobilize, and tying up with the district legal services authorities, state legal services authorities, high court legal services authorities, and national legal services authorities. I think we can, with the collaboration and cooperation of these, we can go for the literacy campaign on their rights and as well as on the duties, and also the greater interest of protecting the flora and fauna and protecting the biodiversity. Say, in the state of Northeast, out of the 23 bio hotspots, the Northeast biodiversity is one of them in the world. But then, as per the recent report, 40% of the biodiversity is already in the already finished, and remaining 60% is in the process of extinction. So, if the biodiversity is not there, then in that case, what will be our condition of human life? And that is why the symbiosis system among all plants, animals, and human beings are to be protected well. And through the updating of the intellectual property rights, and also suggesting the policy makers to make laws and policies to that particular extent is very important. I like to refer to one of the constitution provision, Article 31C of the Constitution. It provided that, bypassing even Article 14 and 19, the policies adopted under the directive principles of state policies will prevail in certain aspects. So that is why, based on that constitutional spirit and also other provisions of constitution, say, for example, the legal services authorities, they are ready for providing pre-legal aid to these people, to along with other people, and that way those rights can well be protected. And the customary laws, which have also different types of prescription for protection and symbiosis among all the living beings and non-living beings in a harmonious manner, these are to be studied properly. And in every educational institution, especially in the field of law, should develop a database, and that database is to be well protected. Easy access should not be made available to any person without proper identity. And for that, I think the effort by one member, single member, bill that is laid in the parliament, if it is activated, or the parliamentary committee should scrutinize what is to be added therein, all incorporating all these aspects. And I think if that protective idea is protected, then in that case, I think the data will be saved, and also the piracy or the destruction or infringement in an illegal manner in a digital world or in a cyber domain, that can be checked properly, like the European countries. And based on the spirit of European countries, the American or the British, they are also taking some provisions on that. In context to the artificial intelligence and also intellectual property right, the British, they had enacted the law that is on Copyright Design and Patent Act, that was enacted. And this act has taken or the coverage of all the dimension of intellectual property rights, whether it is corporeal or incorporeal, whether it is right in personam or right in them in an appropriate manner. And I think based on that, many of the countries, New Zealand and many other countries have followed that principle. And what I feel is that we should try to make a study in an academic manner. And we academicians, we lawyers, we should try to help the policy makers to incorporate all these and make that particular single members bill very effective. And after that, I think the bill is, once the bill is passed and it becomes an act, it will be a very strong protection for the preservation and promotion of the culture and intellectual property right of each and every creation, including the art, music, culture, as well as in the domain of industrial sector, like the patent, the design, the trademark, as the case may be, or the semiconductor and all other domains should be incorporated in such a way, in a scientific way, that it will really protect and we will feel secure and we will not be victim of the invasion in an artificial manner or the invasion of the cyber crime. And India will be protected, and India should take a lead in an intuitive way, and we should carry a message to the rest of the world that what India has led earlier, right from Vedic time, it is high time again that destruction has reached its high pitch. It has reached a high pitch, and this is the time you should take the lesson from Indian culture and heritage right from the Vedic time and try to inculcate the spirit of humanism, the spirit of symbiosis, the spirit of understanding, and we should try to protect the universe from destruction in a near future. So I think I should not go more than that because it's the valedictory section. Whatever was agitating in the mind out of my experience, I have communicated to you, communicated to the learned participants. And I appeal to all the learned participants going back to their respective places. And they are physically there, but then intellectually going there, they will create an environment so that in the near future, the policymakers' eyes are also opened. The people, common people, are their ideas, their education should be imparted in such a way that will join hands from all sectors in the real sense of the term. We will try to protect and preserve the universe so that in the coming generations also, the coming generations are also not to be the victim of these invasions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a very well said, sir. You tried to connect literature on mythology to the international conventions and many other subjects of law that are not directly mentioned in the IPR legal framework, starting from biological diversity to legal services authorities. You have rightly provided that how wide and dynamic this form of IPR is there because it is directly related to human intellectuality and that is the base for our rationality. That is why it is a very nice pleasure to have you, sir, and I hope all the participants might have been enlightened that in such a short notice you have touched almost all the aspects of the intellectual property rights. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Now,
very much.
I would going further ahead. We have another eminent dignitary among us whose noble leadership has always enlightened the development of Central University of Karnataka. The chair for this valedictory session, the Registrar of Central University of Karnataka, Professor Dr. R. Biradar, sir. I would request him to please provide the presidential remarks for this valedictory session. Sir, over to you.
Yes. Very good afternoon to all of you. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, yes. Uh, Chief guest of today's valedictory function, Sri R.C. Borpatra Mehan G, former Advocate General, Government of Assam, and Professor Basuraj Kubukaddi Ji, Dean School of Legal Jurisprudence Studies, Central of Karnataka, and Dr. Jayant Vora, Assistant Professor, Central of Karnataka, and all very active and dynamic learned participants from different parts of the country. At the very outset, I congratulate Professor Basuraj Kubukaddi and his team for having organized this 7 days faculty development program on a very, very important topic, that is empowering women, advancing knowledge, empowering innovation, advancing knowledge and practices in intellectual property rights. I came to know that during the last 7 days, different resource persons with different topics have delivered on important aspects of intellectual property rights during the last 7 days. And Professor Sri R.C. Ramachandraji also has delivered a very wonderful and intellectual talk on this intellectual property rights that are very, very important in the days to come. Uh, Friends, this intellectually property rights, especially intellectual property rights, are going to play a very important role in the overall development and prosperity of the country. So R&D for that research and development will be the key driver of key component of intellectual property rights. Even this NEP 2020 has also focused on research, innovation, development, and intellectual, and thereby turning intellectual property rights of their research output. But if you look at the overall research and innovation in the country, it has been increasing quite significantly, and India is moving towards superpower of this innovation. And at present, if you look at India's status at the global level, as far as in innovation is concerned, like Global Innovation Index is concerned, so India ranks around the 39th position the year 2020-2024 out of the 133 countries. But there has been a rapid progress as far as this Global Innovation Index is concerned in respect of India, because in 2015, the rank was around 18th position, 81st position, which improved to 39th position in the year 2024. So this is really a remarkable and milestone achievement that India has witnessed as far as research, development, and innovation is concerned. And Switzerland, Sweden, USA, Singapore, UK are the most emerging countries as far as innovation is concerned. And India, China, even Turkey, Vietnam, Philippines are the most important fast important emerging countries in respect of innovation. But if you look at the expenditure by the government, from the central government, of course, the expenditure on R&D has been doubled over a period of 10 years. And as far as if you consider the expenditure on R&D as a percentage to GDP, it is very, very less. So maybe around 0.64%. During last, if you compare with the previous year, it was around 0.68%. But in the year 2024, it has come down to 0.64%. Not even 1% of the GDP is spent for R&D. So that's why this innovation ranking, India's ranking in innovation is still continue to be around 39th position. And if you look at the R&D expenditure of other countries, developed countries like USA, so USA spends around 2.9% of its GDP, and Switzerland spends around 3.4% of its GDP. Sweden spends around 3.2% of its GDP, and Israel, which is the highest country in terms of its spending on R&D, that accounted for 4.5%, and Japan spends for 3%, and like that, many developed and developing countries are spending huge amount of their GDP towards R&D and then thereby promoting innovation. So in attainment of this Viksit Bharat, our Honorable Prime Minister, not only our Honorable Prime Minister, we all committed to attain this Viksit Bharat by 2047, 2047. So that is developed nation. So in order to attain this this nation, developed nation or Viksit Bharat by 2047, this R&D play a very important role. They are considered to be most important driver of the economy. So therefore, in order to increase the research activities and thereby innovation and thereby contribute towards this Viksit Bharat, at least 3% of the GDP India has to spend in the days to come. So in this regard, central government recently has established, as all of we know, that is Anusandhana National Research Foundation. So Act was passed in 2023, and accordingly, Anusandhana National Foundation was established in 2024 with the objectives to promote research development and thereby innovation in the country. And so under this, during this period, that is from 2020 to 23, 28, during this period, around 50,000 crore rupees have been, to 50,000 crore rupees has been allocated towards research and development, which aim to promote innovation and thereby intellectual property rights. So friends, this 7 days this faculty development program has thrown light on various dimensions of intellectual property rights and has created lots of awareness and imparted knowledge, skill, everything. So therefore, I believe that all the participants from different countries have actually participated and have been benefited, and then thereby they can take up the issues or some research and development and thereby actually involved in getting the intellectual property rights over their research output or any innovation that they can do in their domain. So with this, I don't want to take much of your time. With these words, I once again congratulate Professor Basuraj Kubkardi sir and his team for having taken a lot of pain, strain, everything for organizing this online wonderful program involving young and energetic teachers, researchers, scholars in this area, and also inviting a very learned resource persons to share their ideas, views, and knowledge with the youngsters. So these words, I once again thank you, thank all the organizers and team members and all the participants having invited me to share some of my views on this valedictory occasion. So thank you very much. Now it is over to the organizer. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for such motivation words and reiterating the responsibility of the academia towards these innovations, field of innovations, and also highlighting the important aspects of organizing similar kinds of events. We offer you a very sincere thanks, and we hope in future also will be motivated in the similar manner, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Yeah, welcome, sir. It's our pleasure. Now, moving ahead, I would like to request Ms. Ragini Raswar to please provide a small summary of the entire 7-day online faculty development program. Ragini, are you here?
Thank you. Sure. I'll just share the previous my screen.
Yeah. Yes, your screen is visible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected faculty members, dear participants. Today, I am here to summarize the 7-day faculty development program that was organized by the Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka. I am a research scholar at Department of Law. I had the opportunity to be one of the moderators at this faculty development program. I'm really fortunate to be a part of this FDP. Moving forward, I would like to tell that we had a variety and diverse participation in our FDP. 72% of the participants were academicians, 15% were research scholars, and there were other professionals also, like practice advocates who were practicing, and other patent agents as well. And interestingly, we had a very significant number of female participants. 45% of the participants were non-doctoral, female participants were there. And we had a very diverse representation from various states, ranging from Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Maharashtra, Kerala. There were lots of state representation in our FTP. Among 193 participants, we had almost 200 participants, 193 who had registered out of our university, and some scholars had also sort of registered. So we had around 200 participants of this FDP. This is our second faculty development program that has been organized by Department of Law since its inception in 2020. We just started our department in 2020, and then this is our second FTP. Our inauguration ceremony was done on 27th January, which was addressed by our chief guest, Professor Dr. Tushar Kanti Saha. He is the former Vice Chancellor of Starford International University, South Sudan. Then followed by, there was address by our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Yugal Kishore. He is the former Vice Chancellor and Registrar at NLU Assam. Then we had the presidential remark by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. Professor Batul Satyanarayan, Sir, of the Central University of Karnataka. Apart from this, we had 13 technical sessions, which was the resource persons were affiliated from various background. For example, Maharashtra National University, Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar University, Chennai, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, Global Academy of Law, Tech, Education and Research, varying from different universities and academic backgrounds. Some were professional in patent rights, and some were resource persons as former professors. Some were serving as professors, and some were practicing advocates as well. Our first technical session was by Professor L.K. Dev on the topic of introduction of intellectual property rights. He discussed the importance and scope of IPR, and he also emphasized the role of IPR in fostering innovation, economic growth, and how it encourages creativity while ensuring the creators can benefit from their work. In total, he talked about the background of IPRs in the starting of our first session. So he made the audience clear about the importance of IPR and the basic concepts of IPR. Then we had technical session 2 on copyrights in creative works, protecting artistic and academic innovation. It was by Professor G.B. Reddy. He focused on the role of copyrights in protecting creative works, particularly in the context of artistic and academic fields. He highlighted the challenges faced by the creators in safeguarding their intellectual property. Then we had the technical session, which was by Professor P.R.L. Raja Venkatesan. He explored the intersection of IPR and human rights, particularly in the field of medicine. He talked about the essential medicine list as well. He discussed how patents on life-saving drugs can create barriers to access and the need for a balance between protecting innovation and ensuring public health through the mechanisms like compulsory licensing, so everybody can be benefited. He talked on the access to medicine and IP, human rights perspective. Then we had a technical session 4 on the topic trademarks and branding by Professor M. Bhandari. He highlighted the significance of trademarks in brand identity. He discussed how trademarks safeguard business, maintain customer trust, and help companies differentiate their products in competitive marketplace. The session emphasized legal strategies for protecting trademark and dealing with infringement issues. We had technical session 5 on geographical indication, promoting indigenous and local products. This was dealt by Dr. Topi Basar ma'am. She focused on the role of GI in promoting and protecting local and indigenous product. She also gave various examples from specifically from northeastern states. She discussed how GI certification helps protect traditional knowledge, promotes local economies, and add value to the cultural heritage that we have, rich heritage of India. Then we had technical session 6 on IPR policies and international framework. This was dealt by Dr. Naveen Kumar. He gave a global perspective on IPR and the role of international frameworks such as TRIPS agreement. He focused on WIPO TRIPS agreement. He discussed how countries harmonize their IPR laws to facilitate cross-border innovation, and how India is also doing that through startups, and how the startups are getting benefited with the current laws that we have. Then we had technical session 7, which was on IPR enforcement and litigation. This was dealt by Professor N. Venkateshwaralu. He provided practical insights into IPR enforcement and litigation, explaining the legal processes that are involved in protecting IPR through courts. He discussed certain case laws, dispute resolution methods that we have, and strategies for effective enforcement of IP rights. Then we had technical session 8 on the topic sustainable innovations and IPR, balancing protection and public interest. It was dealt by Professor S.C. Roy. He addressed the challenges of balancing IP protection with public interest in the context of sustainable innovation. He focused on ensuring that how accessibility and affordability to the broader society, especially in sectors like healthcare and environmental protection. Then we had technical session 9 on IPR in academia, the strategies for teaching and research. This was mostly beneficial for our participants who are in the teaching and who are aspiring to be in the teaching line, specifically for IPR. Professor V. Balaji shared strategies for integrating IPR education into the academic curriculum. He also highlighted the importance of fostering IPR culture in universities by promoting research, commercialization, and encouraging students to develop entrepreneurial mindset while respecting IPR laws. He also talked about how we as a faculty can integrate certain centers or in our syllabus, that we can encourage students to come up with various ideas. Then we had technical session 10. It was dealt by Madam Aparna Pandharkar. She talked about entrepreneurship and IPR, leveraging IP for startups and innovation. And she discussed about the critical role of IPR in entrepreneurship, focusing on how startups can leverage IP to protect their innovations and gain competitive advantage. She covered the basics of IP portfolio management, patenting strategies, and how IP assets can be used to attract investors. Then we had technical session 11 on IPR and the digital age, challenges with AI, blockchain, and digital assets. It was covered by Dr. R.K. Mishra. He explored the emerging challenges in IPR due to the rise of nowadays we have various tools, AI tools, blockchain, and digital assets. He discussed the complexities that these technical digital innovations have, and with IPR in the context of AI-generated creations and digital copyrights. Then we had the second last session, filing of patent, the format and procedure. It was covered by Dr. Deepa Bopanna. She provided an in-depth session on the patent filing process. She also explained the legal requirements and step-by-step procedures involved in filing a patent. The last session was by Dr. Poonam Das on IPR and cyberspace. She discussed the challenges of IPR in cyberspace, focusing on the issues such as online privacy, copyright infringement, and trademark violation on digital platforms. She also discussed various case laws ranging from Satyam to the latest cases. She also explored the role of digital rights management, DRM, and the need for stronger IPR enforcement mechanism in the virtual world. With these 13 technical sessions, I hope all the participants have gained a very varied knowledge on the subject IPR. This was a summary of our 13 technical sessions that we had. Thank you so much for the time and opportunity given to me.
Thank you, Ragini. That was a very nice presentation of the summary. And briefly, you have mentioned all the sessions that have been conducted. Now, let us wait for a very important session that will definitely encourage us for future endeavors similar to this. we'd like to request some of the participants, we can take 4 to 5 feedbacks if the participants would like to say which are the areas that we can improve, or whether they have been benefited from this event. That would be very much valuable for us. So I request the participants to unmute.
Hello. Yeah, hi.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
Professor Maheshwar Satpathy from Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I just want to give a very brief feedback because I'm traveling on train right now, traveling to Kerala on a government duty. But I attended all the 7 days of the FTP and I thoroughly enjoyed. And thanks, Dr. Jayant, for all the help and assistance. All the lectures were extremely brilliant and very, very insightful. And I have learned a lot. And I want to take all these lessons into my research work also in the future in terms of all the research and practical work as well, because I'm leading two centers at my university, centers of excellences. So it would be extremely useful for my IQAC work as well as for my center work, because we are dealing with research center. So it will be extremely useful. So I look forward to collaboration with your team as well in the future in case we need some assistance. And I thank you a great deal for all the help, assistance, and all this knowledge and beautiful time we had. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. For collaboration, we are always ready. Anytime, sir, you can reach any one of us. Our Dean, sir, is also very much collaborative in approach. We as a department, we are always ready to go for collaboration. Yes, now if anyone else would like to. Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Ma'am, your voice is very low. Can you speak little louder, close to the microphone? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I am working as assistant professor. I teach the course IPR as intellectual property rights and YC. All the sessions were really very informative and useful to me. And just like there was one session that filing of patent, the same session for filing of PPVFR Act that might be more useful because I am from agriculture background. I wanted to know the detailed procedure of the filing procedure of PPVFR Act.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. It is audible, ma'am. Ma'am, now it is not audible again.
But meet all the sessions were really informative, but the detailed filing of the patent session was there. The same session about PPPFR Act in future, if you could include in this session, it will be really helpful.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That's very nice to hear, ma'am. Anyone else would like to?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah. Hi, this is Dr. Sushmita Banerjee. I am assistant professor from the Assam Royal Global University. I want to thank all the organizers for such a wonderful FDP. My background is from history. Still, I have opted for this FDP, and I have learned a lot from this. And also, I have, I have also. Make out from here that how can I use in my subject also different IPR things, and also I can use it in my research, like what is the evolution of the IPR process that had been happened in the history. Thank you for.
Ma'am, your voice has stopped, ma'am.
Have Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that Before also, I have joined one more FDP with the Department of Law when it was on human rights. And every time I have gathered a beautiful knowledge and very insightful lectures and insightful information from all the FDPs. And I'm looking forward for such more FDPs by the Department of Law of the Karnataka University. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the FDP. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Even we are also delighted to know that from history department also participants have joined our event. That is really pleasurable for us. Anyone more? If anyone else wants to have some.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Myself, Dr. P. Prabhakar Rao, Associate Professor of Law. But this IPR is a beautiful subject and it is useful also for all the streams, not only for law, for all the streams. As of right now, the primary function of intellectual property rights is to protect and stimulate the development and distribution of new products and the provision of new services based on the creation and exploitation of inventions, trademarks, designs, creative content, or other intangible assets. See, nowadays in digital India, we are facing lot of problems in IPR and patents also. Many cases were there. Most of the cases, this your program brings awareness to the general public also. Thank you very much to the organizers as well as to our participants also. Thank you, sir.
Hi everyone,
Thank you, sir.
this is Nataraj from Bangalore. I mean, my work has always been into real estate and a lot of corporates, but quietly moving towards mediation. This course is only going to help me in the larger picture of mediation works and arbitration also. And yeah, it was beautifully crafted programs, very nice, very informative, and looking for more such programs coming up from the Central University of Karnataka. Thank you all.
Yes, in the meantime, one of the participants has also provided feedback through WhatsApp medium. Actually, she is unable to post it in the chat box. So her name is Ramani Setri ma'am. So we thank for her valuable feedback. Thank you. We'd like to take one more feedback. If anyone is interested, then we'll proceed to the last formality.
Very good evening to everyone. I'm Dr. Pankaj Rai here. So it's a very nice exposure to me that has come to an end by now. So I have learned quite a lot of things related to the legal provisions, especially the intellectual property right. It has helped me in many aspects, as I missed very recently one filing of a patent. So there were some problems related with the collaboration. So at least I have learned how to collaborate for patent related things from this FDP. And in future, I'm planning, right now I have been working on important thing that is patent filing. So at least I have learned the procedure, how to go ahead. So I must thank the organizer, the Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka, the Dean, and especially Dr. Jayanta Badiwa, how he has arranged so many research persons from east to west, north to south, which also indicates the power of networking, especially in this particular domain. So this is my feedback to the session, and I am very much thankful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That's my pleasure indeed. Actually, it is a teamwork from the department that have supported me. So with this, since we are due to the paucity of time, all your failure feedbacks are important, and we would have been much more enlightened with your feedback. But since we know that, as I have already mentioned in the beginning of the session, that there is a universal truth that every beginning has an end. So we have arrived to the last formalities of this faculty development program, but every end has also a new beginning. I hope the messages that were delivered by the enlightened faculties and the practitioners in the field of IPR from across India will be carried forward to our students who are also the future generations, achieving the goals of sustainability towards a better future of innovation in India and as well as in abroad. Since we are at the present of instilling or revitalizing the Indian knowledge system, it will definitely help us in the mission of being the Vishwa Guru, if we have such kind of deliberations around the country, and it is all our responsibility together to foster such events even at a higher speed. Moving to the last formality, that is extension of formal vote of thanks. So I would like to take the privilege of all those people who have directly or indirectly supported and dedicated their efforts and blessings towards the successful conduct of this 7-day online faculty development program since the initiation of the idea till the completion of this valedictory session. First, I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards the patron in chief, Professor Dr. Vattu Satyanarayan sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Karnataka, without whose involvement and dedication, this event won't have been a successful one. Similar efforts have been extended by our most respected patron, Honorable Registrar of Central University of Karnataka, Professor Dr. R. Birara sir, who has also been present in person in the valedictory session, and his extension of help has really motivated us throughout the conduct of this faculty development program. I would at the same time take the privilege of expressing my sincere gratitude to the chief guest of honor of the inaugural ceremony, Professor Dr. Tushar Kanti Saha sir, former Vice Chancellor, Starford International University, South Sudan. I would also like to thank Professor Dr. Yugal Kishore sir, former Vice Chancellor and Registrar officiating National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam, who have consistently guided towards the achievement of my life in personal as well as professional. Today in the valedictory session, we have the very eminent and dynamic personality from both who represents both academia in law and as well as practice. Professor Dr. Ramesh Chandra Barpatra Gohai sir, former Advocate General, Government of Assam, and former Professor Dean and Head, Faculty of Law, Guwahati University. A nice deliberation and support from you, sir. You have suggested how to arrange this event and how to go ahead. I also, on behalf of the Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka, express sincere thanks to you, sir. Thank you once again. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Would also like to express a sincere gratitude to all the 13 resource persons who have delivered throughout the 13 technical sessions of the 7 online faculty development program. I would like to mention that there were few resource persons who were not few, actually one resource person I would like to mention, Dr. Ravikantra Misra sir, who was actually hospitalized for 7 days due to intestinal infection, but because of this program, he took out the pain and has attended and delivered for almost 2.5 hours continuously. Similarly, there was today's morning session, Dr. Poonam Das, she actually witnessed the session prior to her to understand what are the areas not covered in this FDP from the cyber law perspective, and she prepared for her session, and it was a very in-depth analysis in the morning session. The rest of the resource persons equally contributed their efforts, starting from Professor G.V. Reddy sir, Professor M.K. Bandari sir, Professor P.R.L. Raja Venkatesan sir, Professor V. Balaji sir, Professor S.C. Roy sir, Professor Venkateswaralu sir, then Dr. Topi Basar ma'am, Dr. Poonam Das, Dr. Deepa ma'am, Aparna Parharkar ma'am. All those people, all those eminent luminaries have provided their valuable insights, and they have taken all the pain and dedication to deliver for the sake of the participants, for the sake of a sustainable future. A sincere thanks and gratitude to them. We are highly indebted for their deliberations. At last, we also have to extend our sincere thanks to one of the most important personality without whose support and dedication this event, as I have already mentioned earlier, won't have been possible. Our own Dr. Vasavraj M. Kavakadi sir, the Dean School of Legal Jurisprudence Studies and the Head Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka, who actually encouraged us. I still remember he was the person who motivated me to conduct an online session, and he was the person who guided me throughout the session. I would also like to thank my senior colleagues, Dr. Anand sir and Dr. Ranuka ma'am, throughout the session, because when I was involved in this session, there were many other departmental activities which were to be done by me, and they have supported me throughout the conduct of the regular academic activities in the department. So I can take the privilege to conduct this session. A very sincere thanks to them also. Most importantly, event like this is not possible by a single individual. Today, whatever I have achieved through this event for a successful conduct, it is only because of the constant support of the research scholars and some of the students from the PG Department of Law who have constantly supported. They have helped us with their all dedicated efforts in moderating the sessions, doing all the necessary technical stuff behind the scenes. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Ms. Ragini Rajbor and Mr. Krishna. There is two research scholars from the Department of Law who constantly are the backbones of the success of this event, and as well as the all other research scholars and those students who have moderated and introduced the resource persons and helped in the smooth conduct of this event. Finally, I'd also like to thank all those teaching and non-teaching staff because of my ignorance whose name I could not recall that they have, but their contributions was very inevitable for the smooth conduct of this FDP. I am highly grateful to have such extensive support, specifically at the time when I am very new for these institutions. I had been never felt like I am new here. A very constant support and dedication was provided like a family, and it was the main responsible factor that allowed this smooth conduct of the faculty development program. Last but not the least, we will also have to acknowledge the hidden role of the Almighty, without whose grace and blessings this event won't have been a successful one. At last, from the Department of Law and Central University of Karnataka, I specifically beg for sincere apology if during the conduct of this event, if any mistake has been committed, because mistake is also inevitable as part of human being, or due to the technical glitches that occurred from time to time. We sincerely beg apology, and we hope that they will be forgiven, and all the participants, those who appeared, it was a very nice to know that around 150 plus participants in Everest was actively present throughout all the sessions of this online faculty development program. Even though the FDP was organized during the working days, it was a nice support, and this extensive support we even expect in the future also. With this, I declare that the event is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Wonderful event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Hello? Hello? Hello, Jain sir. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, I just would like
Hello?
to... Sir, I am hearing, sir. Hello?
Yes, you are audible. Yes, you are
Sir,
audible, sir.
while I am submitting assessment for test is concerned, 1 minute it takes late, sir. 1 minute, only 1 minute. So the response is that your submission is no more response on Bartaito. So please kindly consider my, taking the test, sir.
That
Providing
is done
certificate.
from the software perspective, sir.
Hello? Hello, sir?